talking about why Trump is more dangerous after January 20th, 2021 than he is now. Before I get deeply into this, though, let me just make sure everyone is hearing me okay. If you would, please someone just let me know everything sounds okay. There's so much going on right now. I want to take my time and just share a few things with you. Hopefully offer you some enlightenment, some information that can help you sort of process all that's going on now. So please, someone let me know if everything is going okay. All right, just got the okay button. All right, excellent. Okay, so once again, I believe that Trump could be more dangerous after Joe Biden becomes president than he is now. But let me qualify that. He's obviously the most powerful man in the universe, not in the universe, I mean, on earth. Let's put it that way. Because the United States of America is still considered the superpower of the world. And we have nuclear capability all over the planet. And Trump is a heartbeat away from that. He can, I don't know what protocol is, but he's commander in chief. So he could literally, I'm thinking, launch nuclear strikes on people or start wars, trying to do everything he can to show hate toward Biden and toward the country for not giving him a second term. He spent this last 4 years doing everything he could to spite Obama. I mean, he done crazy stuff during his 4 years as president, oftentimes just to spite Obama. So why wouldn't this spiteful man, this deranged man, and I'm even saying these things publicly about our sitting president is so weighty on me. But we have to call a spade because this thing has been dangerous for a long time. I saw the dangerousness of this man before he came into office. I mean, I saw how racist he was, the fact that he's a huge white supremacist. I saw, the lack of character, the immorality. I saw all of that. And if there's one thing that I have been studying over the last 35 years as a minister, it is leadership. Leadership. The Bible says a lot about leadership. It says a lot about the moral character of leaders. 1 Timothy chapter 3, God spells out the kind of people that should take on the mantle of being elders in the church or deacons in the church. In the Old Testament, he gave a list of qualifications. Everyone could not be in leadership. So as a minister, I knew this man's character was wanting and would jeopardize the country, because the higher up you go, the more your character will be tested. And if it's not what it should be, and you're in those high positions with a lot of responsibility, and those pressure situations come on you, your character is all you got. Your value system is all you have. And if you lack that character, if you lack that if you lack the morality and the character and integrity to follow a set of guiding, godly principles, you're subject to make very bad decisions. And in the case of being the president or being over a bunch of people, your decisions will not impact just you. Your decisions will impact those who follow you. And this man corrupted that office. He corrupted that seat. And he made those around him pledge blind loyalty And if they wanted to remain in their positions or have his good graces, they had to be as corrupt as he is. So he corrupted the office. He corrupted those around him. And we are all paying the price. For example, we're approaching 400,000 people dead from coronavirus. Friends and families, members of all of us. And a lot of it had to do with this man's lack of moral character. Why do I say that? Well, because when he knew that this was a deadly respiratory virus that could easily transmit from one person to another, and it was more deadlier than the flu and other viruses, he yet got on television and lied to the American people and kept those lies. And the closer we got to the election, the more he continued to lie. The more he continued to put himself in front of the country. Didn't want to alarm the American people, so just let the people die so that things didn't look so bad, so that it wouldn't interfere with his reelection chances. That all goes back to character. That all goes back to morality. And he even went further than that with coronavirus. He even started intentionally lying about the effectiveness of social distancing, of wearing masks, and would even make fun of people who did wear masks. And he would sponsor these super spreader events where he knew people would get infected with this virus. And two notable black men died from that. Herman Cain, and I disagreed with Herman Cain's position, but he should not have died. He followed Trump to his death. And let me say reportedly, I don't know what his cause of death was. I haven't seen his death certificate. So reportedly, allegedly, he died from coronavirus. And the same is true with Bishop Harry Jackson. Again, I haven't seen his death certificate, don't know what the cause of death is, but it is reported, it is rumored that he died from coronavirus. Ben Carson could have also died from coronavirus. Again, these men following Trump's lies and dishonesty. Now, we have now seen in the past couple of days the consummation of all of his malfeasance. And he has done something that is just tremendously awful, to the point more people have died now following Trump or resisting. I'm specifically now talking about the insurrection that he led, that he inspired against our Capitol building, that resulted in 5 people dying, one of which turns out was a Capitol police officer. And I'm told that this police officer is the first police officer to die, the first Capitol police officer to die in the line of duty in 200 years. In 200 years, this man died resisting the people that Trump got so stirred up and tried to get them to storm the Capitol building so that they could stop the certification of Joe Biden. He literally led a band of people in an insurgency. That's like war. The commander-in-chief of our country essentially declared war on our country. And all of that was based on lies, voter fraud lies. How do we know they were lies? Because over 60, about 60 different court cases were filed in federal court. And everyone except for maybe one or two of those 60 cases were rejected by federal judges, some of which he had appointed to the bench. The U.S. Supreme Court wouldn't even hear his cases. And he put 3 people on that bench. 3 Trump appointees, 6 out of 3 conservatives. And they wouldn't give his bogus, baseless arguments the time of day. And then the Georgia officials, the state of Georgia, which is controlled by Republicans, a red state, it's becoming blue. But those in official positions, the governor, the secretary of state, all said that Trump lost that state. He lost it fair and square. And he tried to corrupt those people, the governor, the secretary of state, to lie and find him votes. And he and his followers did that throughout the country. Not only did the courts and the states certify the results, but even his own Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, Bill Barr, of all people, who has been Trump's most loyal, most fierce supporter, who wrote a letter to even get the job of Secretary of State. Even he couldn't defend Trump's baseless lies about voter fraud. And let me tell you something, you African Americans who are listening to me, the whole fight was over millions and millions of black, largely mail-in ballots. In other words, he was trying to get the country to disenfranchise millions and millions of black votes. I'm telling you, this man is really corrupt, deranged, and just as Christians, we need to pray for him. That's what the Bible tells us to do. Pray for our enemies. Pray for those who despitefully use you. Pray for those who curse you. Pray for those who do you. So we have a duty, and the scripture tells us to pray for the president, although he won't be the president much longer. But in the same breath that I point out how corrupt he is, I feel it necessary as a believer myself to call upon you and us to pray for this man. He needs prayer. He needs prayer very badly. Now, there are a lot of folks who want to call the folks who stormed our Capitol building yesterday. There are a lot of folks who want to call those people fringe elements, Antifa. And basically trying to say that those were not real Trump supporters. Those were fringe elements of the Republican Party, of the GOP, of Trump supporters. Fringe elements of MAGA, Make America Great Again. No, they were not fringe. Let me show you. Let me show you what fringe means. The word fringe, I apologize for that. Let me cut this phone off. Fringe, the definition of fringe. Now, I've been having an issue when I would go to a screen, but I think I got it worked out. Just someone please let me know that it's okay, that the audio doesn't go out when I go to this screen. So let's try it now. I think it should be okay. But the word fringe means the border or outer edges of an area or group. So they're saying those thousands of people, probably 10,000 or so people who showed up at the Capitol building the other day were on the border or outer edges of Trump supporters, that they were not the real Trump supporters, that they were fringe elements. Okay. Well, that's not true. Okay. I'm getting the message here. Okay. There's no problem. All right, good. The audio was good. It's not true that those people are fringe elements of Trump supporters. Let me tell you something. Over 75 million people voted for Donald Trump. Over 75 million people. This country has a population of a little bit somewhere around 400 million people. So Trump got roughly 20 to 22% votes from this country's population. That's not fringe. That's nowhere near fringe. That's 75 million people who will do whatever he says, who will lay their lives down, and who will take life, as we see. Those people are loyal to him. That's not fringe. That makes this man even more dangerous after he leaves office than while in office. Again, while in office, he has access to the nuclear code. So in that sense, he's more dangerous now. And I appreciate Nancy Pelosi taking steps to try and ensure our safety from any kind of nuclear, war or something. There's no telling what he would do, as spiteful as he is, and all the other issues that he has going on. But when he leaves office, he will not have the restraint and the confinement of being a sitting president. In other words, sitting presidents have what? They have decorum that they should follow. This man has none. We've seen him do all sorts of things. They have the law first and foremost that they should follow. He didn't do that either in many instances. So he will really be unleashed to break law, to break decorum, to break tradition. With 75 million followers, I think he's just trying to turn them into customers. Okay? Because he's not really thinking about the what's good for those 75 million people. He's thinking about how they can help him. That's how self-centered and narcissistic this man is. So I think he really just looks out there and he's doing and saying what he needs to say to keep them following him so that he can make money off them. But he's using them politically. Now I'm going to bring up another screen because this screen has a tweet that he sent out, I believe it was today. Now immediately let me know if the audio goes out. I don't think it did, but this is Donald Trump's tweet, one of his tweets today. And it reads, the 75 million great American patriots. First of all, patriots don't engage in an insurgency against our country. Those are not patriots. Those are lawbreakers. Great American patriots who voted for me. It's always about me. America first, and make America great again. Will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. That to me sounds like a threat. That to me sounds like a threat to the country. Sounds like he's saying, if you come at me, if you dare cross me, I will unleash 75 million people on you, America, Republicans, Democrats, judges, whomever. I will unleash these very loyal people to me on you. That's what that sounds like to me. This man is dangerous. He's dangerous. And the type of people that he has following him, and this is weird. This is very weird because first and foremost, a lot of the people following him are folks who call themselves Christians. But that aside for a minute, along with the Christians, he has neo-Nazis, he has white supremacists, he has KKK, white nationalists, he has these violent terrorist militias, and again, and white evangelicals all mixed up together. You tell me how white evangelicals who purport to be the spokespeople about Jesus are in the same breath in lock, stock, and barrel with this man and with those people, these white supremacists. I tell you what binds them all together. I tell you what binds Trump, white evangelicals, and these white supremacist groups. It is white supremacy itself. That's what binds them together. Until you understand that, you don't understand what's really going on. And that's not me making race out of everything. Those are facts. This is America, like Donna Glover said in that video a couple of years ago. This is America. White supremacy, white nationalism, racism is in the very fiber of this country. It's in the U.S. Constitution. Do you know there are still multiple slave clauses in the United States Constitution? Someone yesterday said, I always go back to slavery and everything that I talk about. I don't have to go back to slavery because the badges and incidents of slavery are still very much with us. We don't have to reach back to 1865. There's plenty of white supremacy in 2021 that we're still dealing with. Plenty of systemic racism today that we're dealing with. We don't have to go back to 1865. And that was really what you saw with a lot of the folks who stormed the Capitol. A lot of those folks are still fighting that war, that civil war. And they want another one. They want another one. And this now we understand was what Jesus was telling us in Matthew 24, in Luke 21, when he said in the last days, ethnic group would rise against ethnic group. And pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places. We see now what Jesus didn't tell us. He didn't give us the fine point, the fine details, but we see now generally that is the day that we're living in. So you need to get prepared for 2021 because from all indications, and I believe God has shown me that 2021 and going forward, we all want to get back to some sort of normalcy. Oh, how I do remember before this pandemic back in the early part of 2020, how we were just enjoying life and so on. And then this thing hit and this man mismanaged it and mishandled it. And basically my wife and I been able to really kind of leave the house trying to follow CDC guidelines. So we all want to get back to some normalcy, but I don't believe we're going to get back to normal. I believe more bad, horrible, distressing days are ahead of us. Now, yesterday, I want to show you what laws I believe Donald Trump and his followers committed by storming the White House and bringing about the death of 5 people. I believe Donald Trump violated the Sedition Act of 1798. The Sedition Act of 1798. And I put it up here because I want you to read it and you tell me for yourself whether or not this is what he did. It says that if any persons shall unlawfully combine or conspire together with intent to oppose any measure or measures of the government of the United States, which are or shall be directed by proper authority, or to impede the separation of any law of the United States, or to intimidate or prevent any person holding a place or office in or under the government of the United States from undertaking, performing, or executing his trust or duty. And if any person or persons with intent as aforesaid shall counsel, advise, or attempt to procure any insurrection, riot, unlawful assembly, or combination, whether such conspiracy, threatening, counsel, advice, or attempt shall have the proposed effect or not. Part 2. I'm bringing up part 2. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I don't see part 2 here. Something got messed up, but that says it all right there. We don't really even have to look at it anymore. That says it all. That literally says it all. Okay? Let me put it back up here. Notice what it says. If any person, doesn't say except for the president, any person shall unlawfully combine or conspire. That was a conspiracy, what we saw yesterday. And they had the intent of stopping the certification of Joe Biden's win yesterday. You see, that's exactly what they did. They led an insurrection. They tried to stop those votes. And how does that get back to Trump? It gets back to Trump because it gets back to Trump because he stood out there and he incited those folks. Right? He said to them, be strong. Make this happen. And it wasn't just him, it was his son. And Rudy Giuliani, who said something about go and do combat. And another politician who said, are you willing to do whatever it takes? Trump even told them that he would be leading the insurrection, that he would be out front like a general. Well, he wasn't. He left. He flew off in his helicopter as they did his bidding. They thought that they were following their leader into battle. No, that's not what was going on. And so when they went in there, and unfortunately, 5 people lost their lives. 5 people. So, first of all, that is the first charge that should be leveled against him. Now, we know that he may try to pardon himself and pardon his son and pardon Rudy Giuliani everybody who was involved in that yesterday. We know he may try to do that before he leaves office. Okay? But he still, even if he does, he still broke the law. And I would also argue that he should also be charged with felony murder. Because those people lost their lives while in one way or another involved in something that Trump got started. Felony murder is something we see all the time in the law. If somebody sets out to go rob a bank, and while in the commission of the bank robbery, someone dies, that's felony murder. Even if the police officer kills someone who is unassociated with the bank robbery, they still can charge the bank robber with felony murder. I don't see why that doesn't apply here. Now, I looked at the federal statute dealing with homicide, with murder, and I think it would be probably a difficult case to make, the felony murder case. Quite frankly, the way the statute is read, but he still ought to be charged with it, in my mind, to send a message that this should never, ever, ever happen again. No sitting president or his followers should ever, or her followers, should ever again think of leading an insurrection against the United States of America. So they got to send that message, and they got to send it strong. Okay? Now, let me just show you a few things. These are the boxes that were holding the certification ballots from all the states. This is what they were trying to get to. They were trying to get to these ballots, to these boxes, so that they could destroy these boxes and destroy the ballots, their contents. And then guess what would have happened? There would have been no way for Congress on January 6th, there or about, to certify Joe Biden's win. That was what they were intending to do. That's what Trump sent them down there to do. All this based on lies. Do you really believe, folks, do you really believe that the GOP officials of the state of Georgia would lie and face all of the backlash that they're facing from their fellow Republicans to give Joe Biden the state of Georgia? That is comical. It makes no sense. The reason why they certified Joe Biden's election in Georgia is because they had enough integrity and the vote count was so high for Biden, they couldn't lie about it. And there were some honorable people counting those ballots who wouldn't go against, what the facts were. Yet Trump still got out there and told those lies and got those people killed based on his lies. And here are the kinds of folks who ended up storming the Capitol. These are insurgents. These are not protesters. And by the way, imagine that this was a black man with, say, the flag of, the black, red, and green flag, walking around having bombarded the Capitol building and is walking around in there like he owns the place. He would have been carried out on a stretcher. He would have been carried out dead. We know that. In fact, black folks would have never made it inside because they would have had the National Guard in place before they got there. Once the black folks filed the permit to be there, they would have had the National Guard, and if it was left up to Trump, he would have had the 101st Airborne Division there. We seen him do it when it was Black Lives Matters or protesters about racial justice. We seen him put the Army there. We seen him send the National Guard. We saw it. So don't tell me that this man is not a very dangerous man. He is a very dangerous dude. More dangerous, I believe, now than before. And then there's this man who broke into Nancy Pelosi's office, kicked his feet up, stole property from her office. I understand that he's in custody now. And he ought to have his day in court. And even as much as I disagree with this, as a criminal defense lawyer, he's still presumed innocent. All of them are. But they should be held accountable. Yes, sir, by all means. So, yes, this man could be more dangerous after he leaves office than while he's in office. And again, this tweet right here is letting us know that is what he's thinking as well. Like, you all do not want to come at me. Y'all don't want this smoke. You don't want these 75 million great American patriots, these militants, these heavily armed people coming at you. So you don't want that smoke. If you want it, come get it. Come on, bring it on. That's the way I read that. So buckle up, get prepared for 2021. I believe it holds a lot more crazy, distressing days. And that's because we're in the last days. You know, I'm an attorney, but first and foremost, I'm a believer and a preacher. And I know what the Bible says about the last days, and we're in the last days. So you get ready, you get prepared. Buckle up your seatbelt. There is absolutely no telling what's coming except for what the scripture already tells us. More distressing days, more racial strife, more pestilences, more hunger, more wars and rumors of wars. That's what's on the way. All right. So I believe I got through what I wanted to get through. Thank you for your patience. We didn't mean to have all those technical difficulties, but some of that's sort of out of my control. But I did get the opportunity to share with you much of what I wanted to say. There are still some things here, but another time, another day. I want you to have a good weekend.